Why have one keyboard when you can have two? The ONEXPLAYER G1 features a built-in touchpad style keyboard and a detachable keyboard. Let's find out just what the point of it is in our ONEXPLAYER G1 review. The ONEXPLAYER G1 measures around 8.1 by 5.8 by 1.2 inches and weighs around 880 grams, with the detachable keyboard an extra 142 grams. The lid opens to reveal an 8.8 inch touchscreen display, supporting up to 2560 by 1600 at 60 and 144 Hz refresh rates. Out of the box you will see the usual gaming controls including analog sticks, D-pad and gaming buttons. There are some additional small buttons just below for volume control, home, keyboard and mouse control and the ONEXPLAYER overlay. Below is a large touchpad covering the width of the device. By pressing the keyboard and mouse control button, you can switch between using the touchpad for mouse input or as a keyboard. I personally found this keyboard annoying to use. It's a bit like typing on a phone screen with zero vibration or noise feedback. It's okay for brief messaging, in-game shortcuts or web browsing for example, but I could not recommend it for anything else. Thankfully we have a physical keyboard which I will cover shortly. On the left side there is a micro SD card reader. On the right side is a power button with a LED power indicator. Along the back are your trigger and shoulder buttons on either side. Going from left to right are a 3.5mm headphone port, an OCuLink port for connecting to an eGPU, a USB 3.2 port and two USB Type-C ports. You can use the detachable keyboard straight out of the box. It simply falls into place and connects via the pogo pins on the G1. You can alternatively connect via Bluetooth. It supports up to 3 connection profiles, which is very useful if you want to use it with your phone and other devices. The keys are a little smaller than your average keyboard and are fairly low profile. Due to the thickness of the G1, my hands were placed resting on the corners, which become uncomfortable, or on the desk having to stretch my fingers, which did not feel natural. Though you can use it connected via Bluetooth flat on the desk if needed. The ONEXPLAYER G1 is available with a choice of 3 processor types, an AMD 8840U and the newer HX370, and not forgetting the Intel 255H. They come with the integrated Radeon 880M, 890M and the ARC 140T GPUs respectively. We will be comparing the performance of them shortly. Depending on the CPU, there are choices of 32 or 64 gigs of LPDDR5x RAM, running up to 7500 MHz. There's options for 1, 2 or 4 TB of NVMe SSD storage. For communications, there is Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2. Powering it all is a 13,500 mAh battery. We ran Cinebench on the loop at 28 watts TDP with full screen brightness for the following tests to really push the battery life. In our test we got 1 hour 9 minutes for the 8840U model, an additional 6 minutes for the HX370 and a further 6 more minutes for the Intel 255H. In our fan noise test we got a maximum of 67 decibels on all 3 models. And in the temperature tests we got around 68 degrees C highest temperature on all 3 models. In these benchmarks we will be comparing the 3 models together for the differences in performance between them. In the PC Mark benchmark, the Intel 255H model achieves the highest score with just under a 500 point lead over the second place HX370 model. The 8840U model lands in 3rd place with around a 850 point difference to the HX370. We see the Intel 255H model again take the lead in this CPU based test in single and multi-core performance. There is a small gap between it and the HX370 in single core and just over 500 points on multi-core. The 8840U model sees larger gaps on both single and multi-core performance. We can see on the Cinebench results that the Intel model is slightly in front in single core performance. In multi-core we see it drop to 2nd place with a noticeable gap compared to the HX370. The 8840U model again sees lower performance, but not a large gap compared to the Intel's multi-core performance. The Intel 255H does quite well here considering the Intel GPUs have historically lower performance compared with AMD's. The Intel model takes the lead across all three benchmarks, with the HX 370 doing well and the 8840U doing very well in the night raid test. We are running the game's benchmarks at 1080p as well as 720p across a range of TDPs from 28 watts down to 5 watts. The AMD GPU shows its power over the Intel in actual gaming performance, with both the HX 370 and 8840U outperforming the Intel 255H model. Even on lower TDPs we do not see any changes in position. For Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we do see the Intel beat the 8840U at 1080p, but for the remainder of the test it ends up in third place. We see a good difference in performance between the 8840U and HX 370 models. Again, we see the Intel model do well against the 8840U at 1080p, as well as at 720p 28 watts TDP, but it falls behind for the remainder of the tests across the TDP ranges. The HX 370 model enjoys a varying lead over both models. The benchmark results show two sides of performance. On one side we have the Intel excelling at CPU based tasks, whilst the AMD HX 370 excels at GPU based performance. Overall the HX 370 does great, and I would say it's the best if you want a balance between the two. I found 1200p on the medium graphics to run quite well for Clear Obscure. You could lower the resolution and go with higher graphic settings if you wanted to. 1200p FSR balanced with high graphic settings got us a solid 60 plus frames per second. And yeah, I'm still rubbish at skateboarding games. 1200p FSR balanced with a mix of low and medium graphics settings gets us a nice 60 plus frames per second. You could lower the resolution and increase the graphics as always. Like most of the other games, 1200p with medium graphics settings works very well on Atomfall. Again, if you want improved graphics, you can lower the resolution and increase the graphic settings. The ONEXPLAYER G1 does, in my opinion, fall a little short. The dual keyboard idea could be okay in theory. I found the built-in keyboard to be clumsy to use, and often reach for the detachable keyboard in order to type something properly. And when using the detachable keyboard, your hands are raised a little too high if on the desk, or perched on the corners of using the handheld as a hand rest. It's actually better using it connected by Bluetooth and flat on a desk. On the other hand, a keyboard is better than no keyboard and is fine for brief messages. I do find the ONEXPLAYER G1 a little hard to recommend over the other devices. The ONEXPLAYER F1 Pro and X1 Pro, for example, offer far greater comfort and slightly higher performance, and you have a choice of keyboard or not. Perhaps you should consider these instead, if like me you are undecided if you want a usable keyboard or handheld without one. Whilst we do not sell the ONEXPLAYER G1, we do have the F1 Pro available on our DROIX.net, DROIX.eu and DROIX.co.uk stores. Check us out. Before you go, please subscribe to help continue this channel to grow, and we can keep on making videos. Thanks.